The sponsor for this hour is Jack's Basket. Jack's Basket is a 501c3 nonprofit organization with a mission to celebrate babies with Down syndrome. They strive to ensure that every new and expectant parent is provided resources and avenues of support within the community. Jack's Basket aims to equip medical providers with tools to discuss the diagnosis in an unbiased way and hopes that having a baby with Down syndrome is celebrated like any other. Thank you, Jack's Basket, for your support of DSDN.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 6 p.m. Central Time hour. I am so excited to be back with you here this afternoon. I got to watch as a viewer a little bit this afternoon. That was so exciting. And a huge shout out. I don't know if everybody else has been doing this or not, but Melissa and Rafia behind the scenes are just doing an incredible job. And anybody else who's helping Rafia on her side, it's literally more than I ever dreamed this day could look like. So way to go, team. It's been awesome. I get to talk to another former team member today. I feel like told Jillian earlier, Becky, that this feels like this is your life, but she's too young to maybe even know what that is, but you might understand that reference. So I'm happy to chat with you today. Becky Bausman is here with us today, and she's going to talk to us about the Rockin Family Fund. When we started talking about what this day could look like, I remember so vividly when we came up with this concept of how we could support parents through just all the different times. We have our gifts, our memorial gifts, our adoption grants, everything. Becky was a board member at the time and really just instrumental in helping this program get ready and start to just get the vision for it and how it would function. And we're just so grateful. So welcome, Becky, to DSDN Day Streamathon.
Thank you. How fun to be here. What a day. Woohoo.
What a day. Woohoo is how I feel too. Can you start by just telling us a little bit about you and your family and how you got connected to DSDN?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I am mom to Drew. He's 10. He was born in 2014. And I had received a pregnancy diagnosis at week 12. And one of the very first things I turned to was the internet. And it was through Facebook that I found a support group and got involved in that group, and it changed my life. I mean, absolutely changed my life. Probably not as much as Drew changed my life, not only because he had Down syndrome, but because he was my first kid. But from that day forward and our entire journey through parenting a kid with Down syndrome, we just came to appreciate DSDN so much that I volunteered to get involved in a more meaningful way and join the board.
You just have so many skills, and we were so grateful to have you join the team and just bring all of that to it. We're so lucky. We were talking about that early this morning about how many people shared their talents and skills with us to really help grow the organization. So just forever grateful. And why was the Rockin Family Fund so important to you? Why did that feel like that was something, you really wanted to be a part of creating?
Sure. Well, part of what made me want to get involved more is that DSDN is the only organization in the country, if not in the world, that is specifically exists to target finding brand new families who are having kids with Down syndrome at the time that they're receiving the diagnosis and give them the support and the information and the connection that they need to quickly get through the processing of that diagnosis, find the resources that they need to help their kids, and then thrive, right? Help those kids thrive in those first couple of years. And furthermore, it's one of the only organizations that sometimes is readily available, at least back in 2014 when I was involved, to people who are living no matter where they're living. I live now in a big city in California. I have access to very innovative healthcare institutions. I have a local Down syndrome association. We have a Gigi's Playhouse in our neighborhood, right? But if I were growing up or going through this journey in, say, rural Nebraska, I wouldn't have had that, right? And all of it was, at the time, was centered on Facebook. It was Facebook groups. That was our program as a nonprofit. And what we realized as we started to see so many of our parents struggling, especially with losses, we've got kiddos that are having heart problems, and kiddos going through leukemia, and kiddos losing life for whatever reason that was happening, whether it's pregnancy or afterwards. And we wanted to start memorial gifts, just wind chimes that are nice, not tacky, gorgeous wind chimes that have that child's name engraved on them and wrapped in the love of our strong community to say that we'll always remember and that we're here with them in their grief. And that gave way then to welcome gifts so that they could start to receive that sort of hug of celebration when so often they're not surrounded with that. And before long, we were then extending it into cards that we could offer, like Visa cards for people who were incurring long medical stays, like at hospitals for surgeries or procedures that needed to be done. And it just felt to me like a really important evolution of DSDN at the time, because at that point, that inflection point in your history, DSDN started to have paying parents, parents who were paying it forward and wanted to contribute cash money to help deliver on the mission. And this felt like the way to do it.
Yeah, I think about those early days and gosh, sending those memorial wind chimes and that being the first thing, that was just the hardest thing to do and most honoring thing that we could do. I always feel that when we have to send the wind chimes, but I remember parents just all saying, oh, how can we contribute? What can we do to help this family? And it just became a really intentional way for us to make sure, like you said, those parents know that we're thinking about them, and that saying came to be too, once a Rockin' mom, always a Rockin' mom, once that came about. And it really was so powerful. And then I remember doing the little welcome gifts at our retreats and getting them all ready to go and wrapped up so that way they could be sent out to the newest parents. And yeah, just so powerful, all of those pieces. And now too, I don't even know, I think that about all the things, but now we also have our adoption grants. We've got the scholarships, which I know very much about. And even just a couple of years ago when Christy came on board, I believe is when we started doing the pregnancy gifts. And it's these teeny tiny little hats that look like little bears that have the little DSDN name on them. I know, it's literally the cutest. So because of all that work you put in at the beginning, we're now able to even just do more and more, so that way we can do something tangible for parents, which I think was important to all of us. And especially if we're going to start doing fundraising, like how can we get some of that into the hands of parents for some of these programs?
The retreat is tangible. The actual access to information that you get when you go into the app is tangible, but there is nothing to be said for the gesture and the meaning of it, of community coming together in these ceremonial kind of tangible ways. When a parent is struggling and they're suffering financial hardship because of medical expenses, to know that their community has a mechanism for showing them that support with a card for the hospital stay, or if they're aiming to adopt a child with Down syndrome and we can be a support to help them with that. I mean, it really helps to fulfill the mission of DSDN, the service mission of DSDN, to connect and support these families at these critical early steps in their journey. So it's wonderful.
100.
And the only reason that we're able to do any of it is because we have fundraisers, right? We have human beings and institutions and organizations that believe in our mission and are willing to support it, because this is the stuff that costs money. It doesn't cost us as much to have volunteers moderate groups in an app, right? But this is a real tangible way that we can demonstrate that commitment to the mission.
You will be thrilled to know. So today we're doing fill our funds and trying to make sure we can finish our budgets for each fund. And our very first fund this morning was Rockin' Family Fund. And that one got completed before I was even done. When we started medical outreach at 11 this morning, that part had already been filled. So that was really great to see. And we still, I guess we didn't even talk about, but at the retreats, we still write handwritten cards. Moms write them. I'm not sure if the dads do something on their side too. I'd have to check on that. Somebody smarter than me will remind us that maybe later. But Melissa's telling me, yes, they do. So the moms and dads at the retreat, they write handwritten cards. Those go in the welcome gifts. So that way, when the moms and the dads open those, they get to see, Becky or Jen wrote a note and said, just thinking of you, or just some words of encouragement during that time. And we hear from parents all the time how powerful that even is. And just that act of, yes, somebody else has my back in this, and you've got this, we've got you. That's been our saying for years and years now, since Kathleen came up with that at our very first retreat. So it's been really powerful to see. So I'm just so thrilled to know and have you see what this has grown into, because it just is, we start with these little nuggets of ideas and put all of our energy into it for a while. And then it continues to grow beyond us, which is just so powerful.
If the viewers are thinking back to how vulnerable they might have felt at the very instant that they were getting that diagnosis, just know, I mean, there are over 5,000 families, probably births a year-ish, that have a Down syndrome diagnosis, and DSDN's reaching 20% of them. We're welcoming like 20% of these families. We're getting 170 new parents a month who have kids under age 3, and 60 to 75 a month who are brand new in that community. And it's just all of those families feeling vulnerable, all of those families looking for support, and that's where DSDN is. And it doesn't matter where they live, it doesn't matter what their gender is, it doesn't matter if they speak English. We're there with support for them, and it's because of the donors. And I'm so delighted to see that the Rockin Family Fund is thriving all these years later, and that it's a part of the mission. It's great.
Well, we're so grateful. Thanks. Any other words of wisdom that you'd like to end on?
No, just revel in the joy, y'all. Revel in the joy. The highs and the lows. And it is the gift of being able to parent a child with Down syndrome has been way more profound than I ever knew that it would be. And it's not just a gift of Drew, but it's a gift of all of you, right? It's a gift of this community. And I still kind of find myself in awe of what has been built with these thousands and thousands of families that you've brought together, Jen and Melissa, and everybody who's been a part of it on the volunteer side. It's humbling, and it's amazing, and it's everything that feels right with the world. So thank you.
Yeah, no, we've heard that over and over again today. I think that's how we all feel, that because of our kids, we've gotten to build this community and meet so many new people and do more and pay it forward to the new parents. So thanks for all the work that you put in to Rockin Family Fund as a board member, as a supporter still, for all of our work. We just appreciate you. And I hope I get to see you in Iowa sometime this summer.
Got it. You got it.
Hi, I'm Anna Yen, DSDN Board Treasurer. I'm a Midwesterner who now lives in California after over a decade abroad. And I found DSDN in my time of need when I was moving back to the US and about to have my Rockin' kiddo. I had no real local friends. I had no support, it seemed like, in this journey until I found this online platform. And I can only hope that most parents who are going through this journey are able to access this amazing community. And this is why I'm so passionate about DSDN and helping the community grow. I will just leave you with one last note, which is there's no perfect parent, but there's a million ways to be a good one. And I know you're doing amazing. Hang in there. It is a beautiful journey.
Hi, I am Navara Cannon. I am the Rockin Family Fund Director, and I have the great honor of just taking a few moments today to thank all of the members of our Rockin Family Fund. Those members were one of our first points of entry into DSDN. They are encouraging, they are supportive, they are patient, and I really value them and the impact that they make every single day to families who are receiving diagnosis and are reaching out and are looking just for a little bit of information and some empathy and some compassion. So I now have the honor of working alongside them, and I'm just excited to be able to tell them today, thank you. We appreciate you, and please just keep doing what you're doing.